Imagine a world before the rule of Zeus. A world dominated by the Titans, colossal beings of unimaginable power. The sky, the earth, and the seas trembled under their reign. At the center of it all stood Cronus, the most powerful of the Titans, a ruler whose fear of losing power would lead him down a path of destruction. Long before Zeus claimed his throne, his father, Cronus, had seized power in a violent uprising. Cronus had overthrown his own father, Uranus, the primordial god of the sky, in a brutal act that shook the cosmos. With a sickle forged by his mother, Gaia, Cronus castrated Uranus, ending his reign and casting him into oblivion. But as Uranus fell, he issued a chilling prophecy. You, too, will be overthrown by your own child. At first, Cronus ruled with absolute might. Alongside his fellow Titans, he shaped the world, ruling from the highest mountains to the deepest oceans. But the words of his fallen father haunted him. The fear of being dethroned, just as he had dethroned Uranus, grew like a festering wound in his mind. When his wife, Rhea, gave birth to their first child, Cronus refused to take any chances. The moment the infant was placed in his hands, he swallowed the baby whole, imprisoning it within his own body. One by one, his children were devoured: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, until none remained. But Rhea could not bear to lose another child. When she became pregnant again, she devised a daring plan. Instead of presenting the newborn to Cronus, she wrapped a stone in swaddling cloth and handed it to her husband. In his arrogance, Cronus did not even look. He swallowed the stone whole, believing he had once again secured his throne. Meanwhile, the real child, Zeus, was spirited away to the island of Crete. There, he was hidden in a secluded cave, far from his father's reach. He was raised by the nymph Amalthea, who fed him with the milk of a divine goat. To mask his cries from Cronus, the Carabants, a group of warrior priests, performed loud, frenzied dances, clashing their weapons against their shields to drown out any sound. As Zeus grew, so did his power. No longer a helpless infant, he was now a formidable young god, burning with the fire of vengeance. The time had come to fulfill the prophecy. With the help of Métis, the Titaness of wisdom, Zeus devised a plan. He approached Cronus in disguise, serving him a drink laced with a powerful potion. The moment Cronus swallowed it, he felt his body convulse. Then, one by one, his children were regurgitated: Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, all emerging from the prison of their father's stomach. But this was only the beginning. The war for dominion over the cosmos had begun. For 10 years, the Titanomachy, the great war between the Titans and the Olympians, raged across the heavens and the earth. The sky thundered with the clash of divine weapons. Mountains crumbled, rivers boiled, and the very foundations of the world shook under the fury of battle. The Titans, led by Cronus, fought with savage power, wielding the forces of the ancient world. But Zeus was not alone. He freed the Cyclopes, the one-eyed giants imprisoned by the Titans, and in gratitude, they forged for him a weapon unlike any other, the thunderbolt, a spear of pure lightning capable of shattering mountains. With his newfound power, Zeus unleashed a storm unlike any the world had seen. His lightning tore through the Titan ranks, striking down even the mightiest of his foes. Poseidon, with his trident, shattered the lands and seas, while Hades, armed with his helm of darkness, moved unseen, striking from the shadows. In the end, the Titans fell. Defeated and broken, they were cast into the depths of Tartarus, a prison so deep beneath the earth that even the gods themselves shuddered at its darkness. Zeus had won. The throne of Olympus was his. But ruling the gods would prove to be a far greater challenge than conquering the Titans. With Cronus defeated and the Titans imprisoned in the abyss of Tartarus, a new order emerged. The Olympian gods Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades stood as the new rulers of existence. But power, once gained, must be defended. The reign of Zeus was far from peaceful. His rule would be defined not only by his justice but also by his terrible wrath. After their victory, the three brothers divided the cosmos among themselves. Zeus, the most powerful, claimed the heavens and the sky. Poseidon took the seas, while Hades was left with the underworld, the realm of the dead. But despite this division, Zeus's rule was constantly challenged. The first great test of his reign came from the Gigantes, the monstrous giants born from Gaia, the primordial mother of the earth. Angered by the fate of the Titans, Gaia sought revenge. She birthed the Gigantes, towering beings with immense strength, each more terrifying than the last. With weapons crafted from mountains and fire, they waged war against the Olympian gods. The Gigantomachy, the battle of the giants, shook the heavens. The gods struggled against these monstrous beings, for they could not be slain by divine hands alone. But Zeus, ever cunning, called upon the mortal hero Heracles. With his strength, the giants were struck down, one by one, their bodies buried beneath the lands they once sought to conquer. But even greater threats loomed. From the depths of chaos rose Typhon, the most fearsome creature in existence. A beast of unimaginable terror, Typhon towered over the mountains, his 100 serpent heads breathing fire and venom. Even the gods trembled at his might. Typhon's rampage was unstoppable. He tore through the heavens, sending the gods fleeing in terror. Only Zeus stood his ground. With all his power, he unleashed his thunderbolts, striking Typhon with divine fury. The battle raged for days, shaking the very core of the world. Finally, Zeus struck Typhon down, casting him beneath Mount Etna, where he remains imprisoned to this day, his rage fueling the volcano's endless eruptions. But Zeus's wrath was not reserved only for monsters. He punished gods and mortals alike who dared defy him. When Prometheus stole fire from the heavens and gifted it to humanity, Zeus condemned him to eternal torment, chained to a rock where an eagle would feast upon his liver every day. When King Salmoneus arrogantly claimed to be Zeus himself, the god of thunder struck him down with a single bolt, reducing him to ashes. His power was absolute, his wrath inescapable. Yet, for all his fury, Zeus remained the supreme ruler of Olympus, the protector of the gods and the enforcer of divine justice. But his rule was far from perfect. The greatest threats did not always come from the outside. Sometimes, they came from within. For all his might as the king of the gods, Zeus was not only feared for his thunder but also infamous for his insatiable desire. His love affairs stretched across heaven, earth, and even the underworld, leaving behind a legacy of demigods, heroes, and tragic fates. But his passion was not without consequences. His relentless pursuit of lovers led to betrayals, curses, and eternal conflicts that shaped the course of history. From the moment Zeus ascended to the throne of Olympus, his desires knew no bounds. His first wife, Metis, the Titaness of wisdom, was the mother of Athena. But Zeus, fearing a prophecy that their child would overthrow him, swallowed Metis whole while she was pregnant. Yet, fate could not be denied. One day, Zeus was struck by a blinding pain in his head. As his screams echoed across Olympus, Hephaestus, the god of blacksmithing, took his mighty axe and split Zeus's skull open. From within, Athena emerged, fully grown and clad in armor, the goddess of wisdom and war. But this was only the beginning. Zeus's conquests extended far beyond the gods. His eyes turned toward the mortal world, where he seduced, tricked, or forced his way into the lives of women, leaving behind a trail of divine offspring. One of the most famous of these was Europa, a Phoenician princess. Zeus, consumed by desire, transformed himself into a magnificent white bull and approached her as she played by the shore. Entranced by its beauty, Europa climbed onto its back, only for Zeus to suddenly charge into the sea, carrying her away to the island of Crete. From their union, Minos, the legendary king of Crete, was born. Another tragic tale is that of Leda, the queen of Sparta. Zeus came to her in the form of a majestic swan, seducing her in a mysterious and divine embrace. From this encounter, Helen of Troy was born, the woman whose beauty would one day launch 1,000 ships and ignite the Trojan War. But few suffered more than Io, a mortal priestess of Hera. Zeus fell in love with her and sought to keep their affair a secret. When Hera, his wife and queen, grew suspicious, Zeus panicked and transformed Io into a white cow to hide her. But Hera was not so easily deceived. She took the cow as her own and placed it under the watchful eye of Argus, a giant with 100 eyes who never slept. Desperate to free Io, Zeus sent Hermes, the trickster god, to intervene. Hermes played enchanting music until Argus finally shut all of his eyes, and then struck him down. Though Io was free from Argus, her torment was not over. Hera sent a gadfly to relentlessly sting her, forcing her to wander the earth in agony. She traveled across lands and seas, her suffering endless, until she finally reached Egypt, where Zeus restored her to human form. But perhaps no one endured more than Callisto, one of Artemis's most devoted followers. Sworn to chastity, she caught the eye of Zeus, who deceived her by taking the form of Artemis herself. Callisto, believing she was with her goddess, let down her guard, only to realize too late that it was Zeus. When she became pregnant, Artemis and the other nymphs cast her out, and Hera, consumed by jealousy, transformed her into a bear. She wandered the wilderness, hunted by those who once loved her, until Zeus took pity and placed her in the stars, where she became the constellation Ursa Major, the Great Bear. These were only a few of the countless lovers Zeus pursued. Though his unions created great heroes, Heracles, Perseus, and Dionysus, they also brought misery, pain, and unending vengeance. Hera's wrath was relentless, and the women and children left in Zeus's wake bore the brunt of it. Even as the king of the gods, Zeus's desires shaped the fate of mortals and immortals alike. His affairs were not just stories of love, but of deception, tragedy, and divine intervention, leaving behind a legacy written in the stars, the heavens, and the hearts of those who suffered in his wake. Zeus was not just the ruler of Olympus. He was the embodiment of power, the wielder of storms, the enforcer of justice, and the orchestrator of fate itself. His name was carved into the temples of ancient Greece, spoken in the prayers of kings and warriors, and immortalized in myths that have endured for millennia. But what was the true legacy of Zeus? Was he a just ruler, or a tyrant masked in divinity? Throughout Greece, Zeus was worshipped in grand temples built in his honor. The most famous among them was the Temple of Zeus at Olympia, home to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the colossal statue of Zeus, crafted by the legendary sculptor Phidias. This immense figure, seated on a golden throne, radiated divine authority, reminding all who gazed upon it that Zeus was supreme. At Dodona, the oldest oracle in Greece, priests and priestesses listened to the rustling of sacred oak leaves, interpreting the whispers of Zeus himself. His presence was felt in every storm that shook the sky, every bolt of lightning that struck the earth. To the Greeks, Zeus was not a distant god. He was the very force that governed their world. His justice, however, was as swift as his wrath. He was the upholder of Xenia, the sacred law of hospitality. Those who violated this sacred code, who abused guests or disrespected the bonds of hospitality, faced his divine punishment. The most famous example was Tantalus, a mortal king who dared to steal nectar and ambrosia from Olympus and serve his own son as a meal to the gods. Zeus condemned him to eternal torment, standing in a pool of water that receded whenever he tried to drink, with fruit hanging above him that remained forever out of reach. Even great cities fell under his judgment. When King Sisyphus, the clever trickster, tried to outwit death and defy the gods, Zeus condemned him to an eternity of futile labor, rolling a boulder up a hill only for it to roll back down every time he neared the top. Yet, for all his punishments, Zeus was also a protector. He guided heroes, intervened in great battles, and ensured that the order of the universe remained intact. Even the Trojan War bore his influence, as he orchestrated events from Olympus, playing gods and mortals alike as pieces on a divine chessboard. But as time passed, the worship of Zeus began to fade. The rise of new empires, new religions, and new gods saw the temples of Zeus abandoned, his great statue lost to history. Yet his legend endured. His name still echoes in myths, in literature, in the very fabric of Western culture. Even today, Zeus remains a symbol of ultimate power, the storm that cannot be tamed, the thunder that shakes the heavens. He is the father of gods, the ruler of Olympus, and the eternal force of the sky. His throne may be empty, but his legacy will never fade.